If your scalp is always itchy, flaking, sore, red, or breaking out, the scalp may be suffocating. In this video, we are going to break down exactly what happens to the scalp when sweat gets trapped in the sweat gland by different oils, butters, greases, and different layers of product. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happens when sweat gets trapped under oils, butters, creams, and all of the different layers of products that you add. From clogged follicles, bald patches that keep popping up even though you're growing it back, inflammation and fungal growth, there's one common denominator. And today, I'm going to give you this common denominator that is the reason that your hair and scalp is not thriving. Let's talk about scalp pH and product buildup.
I am back. What it do, baby?
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
But it's a hot brush. And this is not going through. Oh, oh.
What?
Y'all, I don't know, but that was just burning. What the heck?
So all of the confusion comes from the place that nobody is actually following how things are supposed to go. First, they told you that blow dryers and flat irons were bad. And then once you stop believing that, now they're giving you all of these extra tools that nobody knows how to use. And this is where different things like inflammation happen, right? But first, you guys are all under the impression that these products are growing your hair, but really it's just killing the bacteria that was slowing down the hair growth process. And once the bacteria is dead, all of the hair that was already there, that was waiting to come out of the pore, it just comes out. So it's not that these products are growing your hair. The products are killing the yeast and bacteria that you let over accumulate on the scalp, right? As you can see, the hair was already under the follicle, but there was a bacteria that was blocking it. Once the bacteria is no longer there, the hair can come up. So it's not that these products were growing your hair out. They didn't do that. God did that. Everybody's hair grows unless there's something that has caused inflammation, which has caused your hair growth cycle to slow down in some way, shape, or form. So these are things that are mostly done, like it's mechanical damage, things that you do, user error, products that you put on the scalp. But this is what a healthy scalp looks like. There's nothing on it, and sebum is going to come out of the scalp's follicles and pores. You don't need anything extra. So what ends up happening is, because you refuse to believe that these facts are real, you go and you put oils and butters on the follicle. So if oils and butters, not on the follicle, on the pore, if oils and butters are covering the scalp, then that sebum can never come out, and then it gets stuck in there. It becomes inflamed, and this is where dandruff comes from. Dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis. Most of you think that dandruff is dry scalp. Dandruff is not dry scalp. Dandruff is oily scalp. You have an overproduction of oil. You keep oiling, you keep greasing the scalp, so it is like blocked. The follicle is blocked, and your body cannot let go of those dead skin cells because you keep adding more oil to them. You keep putting a barrier over it. You guys love to use the word moisturizing, but to moisturize something is to create a barrier. So when you put a moisturizer on the scalp, you create a barrier over the dead skin cells that want it to come up. And what you do is you prevent the sebum from doing what it's supposed to do on your scalp. And that is the truth of the matter. But so many times we're looking from an external source to do the job, but everything starts within. And whenever I make videos and I say that you shouldn't oil the scalp or you shouldn't grease the scalp and things of that nature, it is something that really, really bothers people. It really bothers people. But I need you to search yourself and figure out why that bothers you, because there are so many people, legions of people, who have sat down, thought about it, and done the work. And when they do the work, they're like, oh my God, I've been wrong for a very long time. And this is men and women, right? Men and women. So this is not just something that I'm saying out of my mouth. This woman here on the screen, you can read it yourself, but she said that she had beautiful long and thick hair when she was younger, and then one day when the pandemic happened and all of the things, that's when she started listening to Team Natural stuff, and now her hair is ruined. And she said now she struggles to find a routine. You don't need to find a routine. You already had a routine. Go back to the routines and patterns that you had when you were younger and your hair was thriving. You have the same follicles today that you had back then. So go back to basics, because the women who stuck to the basics, they're not having those issues. What you see when you look at the human scalp is just skin, but there's something that lies beneath. And by you constantly ignoring that thing, you are going to constantly have issues. When you look at the hair shaft, you just look at pretty hair, but you completely denote and you completely exclude the inner sanctum of the human hair shaft. And the inner sanctum of the human hair shaft does not need to have water. It does not need oil. It needs oxygen flow and the hydration from the environment. That's all it needs. That's it. But for whatever reason, we are under the impression that the only way that we can treat our hair, is if we put oils and butters and greases on it. And I know that some people who have been here for a while, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about it, but I will never stop talking about it until it stops. You know why? Because one of the leading causes, if not the only leading cause of Black women not being able to retain length and healthy hair, just because your hair is long does not mean that it's healthy. And hair weathering takes anywhere between 6 months and 27 years to show up in the human body. And these are things that people do not think about. This is a certain form of bacteria that lives on the human scalp. And by you putting water and different oils, not water, but different oils and butters on it, all you're doing is feeding it, right? This is what your hair looks like underneath that skin that you keep putting oil on. In the video that we did yesterday, I'm going to leave it in the description box below. I broke down what this top layer of skin is, the stratum corneum, right? We talked about the stratum corneum and the fact that it is the layer of your skin that protects your body from all foreign bodies. So different things like oils, your coconut oil, your what's your favorite stuff, your olive oil, all of those things, the molecular structure is too big to fit through the stratum corneum. So it is a scientific fact that when you put oil on the scalp, all you're doing is just putting layers on top of the hair shaft and feeding and multiplying and colonizing the bacteria and different forms of yeast that live on your scalp. That's all you're doing, because your scalp already produces sebum, and the more things you add to the scalp, the more you amplify the bacteria and the yeast that lives on your scalp. That's why your scalp burns. That's why you have dandruff. That's why your scalp is sensitive to touch. That is why sometimes if you even just run your fingers through your hair, you'll be in pain. That is why when you put oils and butters on your scalp, or that's why after you put oils on your scalp starts itching like crazy. Stop it. Because the oil that you're putting on cannot get past this top layer of skin. So all of the things that you see, the sebaceous gland, the blood supply, the sweat gland, all of those things, the oil never gets there. It never gets there. And when I say things like this, you'll see certain people like, oh, well, I've been doing it and my dermatologist said it's okay to put oil on your ends and stuff like that. Listen, a dermatologist does not want to argue and go back and forth with you. So if you say, can I put oil on my ends? They're just going to say, yeah, just keep it off the scalp. You know why? They don't want to sit there and have this long, drawn out explanation of why you don't put oil on the scalp and how it's going to feed the bacteria that lives there and things of of that nature. Moreover, a dermatologist's job is to assess your scalp, run tests, and diagnose you and treat you. They don't do a cosmetologist's job, nor do they understand how the patterns and routines that you guys put in play end up causing the triggers that they have to diagnose and treat. Okay? It's a holistic practice. Your dermatologist has a cosmetologist. The number one dermatologist that I work with, I was her cosmetologist almost my entire career. So for over a decade, I was her cosmetologist, and she's a dermatologist. Your dermatologist has a cosmetologist. Know that. So when you sit down and get your patterns and routines together, you have to think about how your patterns and routines end up triggering inflammation in the scalp. Oils, greases, inhibitors are not supposed to be on the scalp. The only time you're putting on anything on the scalp is if you're treating an infection. This is an infection of a hair follicle as well, but the hair follicle on the lashes, the same exact thing happens to the scalp. And the thing is, if you stop oiling and buttering the scalp, and you won't have dandruff, and you won't have to go see a dermatologist, you won't spend all of this money on products if you just stop oiling, greasing, and buttering the scalp. But there's some type of mind blockage, right? There's some type of addiction. I believe there's some type of spiritual stronghold on Black women that just keeps them stuck in oiling and greasing the scalp, because not one woman who oils and greases the scalp can tell me why. What can the oil that you're putting on your scalp do that the sebum that's coming out of your follicle can't? If you cannot answer that question, you are doing it for nothing. You are putting oils and greases and butters on your scalp because it is a habitual practice that is stuck in your mind that you have not broken free from. But you don't actually have a reason for doing it. Whether my words offend you or not, it's the truth. If you can't give me a reason, then you're doing it for nothing. What does the oil, the grease, and the butter that you're putting on your scalp and on your hair do that the sebum that's coming out of your scalp can't? Because it is a fact. When women stop oiling and greasing the scalp, they are shocked by the amount of sebum that their body produces. And a woman with sebum coming out of her follicle who does not have blocked pores, she is never looking for an oil, ever. Now, when your dermatologist gives you a product that looks or appears to be oil-based, that is to kill yeast and bacteria. That is it, and that is all. That is it, and that is all. And you are supposed to shampoo the hair on a regular basis. Nor are you supposed to just completely slather it. Now, this may look like a lot, but it's not. And after that, the shampooing process is something that happens on a regular basis, because guess what? When the hair is shampooed, the yeast and bacteria that does accumulate within the hair's follicle is not able to stop the hair growth process. It's not able to slow things down. And your body is able to release these bacteria naturally, because there's nothing blocking them and keeping them inside. But if you put oil over the follicle, none of the bacteria, none of the things that need to escape the follicle can escape. But when you allow your body to do what it does naturally, things tighten up, your skin brightens in places that you had a little bit of hyperpigmentation. But understand that it is a process. So when you go see a dermatologist and they treat you and they do run tests and things of that nature and they give you something that you have to take, yes, most likely you are going to experience some flaking of the scalp because your hair growth cycle is being reset. Things are being reset and recalibrated, and you have to follow the directions that your dermatologist sets. You have to follow it. But again, if the pore is blocked, then this is how things look. I really want you to see this in your mind's eye. This is what your follicle looks like when you put oil on your scalp. It doesn't go within the follicle. It just sits on top of it and it blocks things from escaping. So then there's inflammation. But watch this animation. As the pore is no longer full, it shrinks, the inflammation goes away, and the hair growth cycle can start back up. But the inflammation that you feel is coming from a full follicle because you won't stop oiling and buttering the scalp. This is what your scalp looks like if you grease it. It does not penetrate. The molecules are too large to go into the follicle. So the oil blocks the pore. It blocks the follicle. It doesn't do anything. The oil that you're putting on your scalp is not penetrating. I already broke it down scientifically, gave you all of the studies in the live broadcast we did yesterday. Link is in the description box below, but I really, really want you to make sense of things that are already right in front of you, because none of the things that we're talking about make sense. None of them. Your hair can have sebum naturally. There are different things that you can ingest, like buildup root, that goes ahead and resets your body's natural systems, so that way you're not full of toxins, right? Buildup root is amazing for cleansing toxins out of the body, but it doesn't matter if you're cleaning toxins out of the body if every day you're turning around and putting oil on top of the follicle. It doesn't matter. I keep playing this clip because I want you to visually see what it looks like. There are going to still be women in the comments like, oh, well, she said you can use oil. This is what it looks like when you put oil on the scalp. Make this make sense. You can't. That's why I don't entertain this conversation. Make this make sense, and then I'll entertain it. We already talked about it. It's a fact. The oil, the molecules are too big to penetrate. They can't go inside the follicle. They're just sitting on top of it. So this makes no sense. How does you putting a layer on top of the follicle help your hair to grow? How does it help it to increase your skin cell turnover? How? It doesn't. It just blocks things. And it's only once it's washed away that whatever was in the follicle can leave. If you want your inflammation to leave, stop putting things on the scalp. Nothing goes on the scalp but shampoo. Well, what do I do? Well, what else do I put on it? Nothing. Your body has everything that it needs. This is spiritual work that Black women have to do. This is not a physical work. It's not. This is a spiritual work. There is something that has a stronghold over your mind. There's a stronghold, and you need to figure out why. Why do you have this stronghold over your mind? Why are you so stuck on greasing and buttering the scalp? It all needs to stop. Like, what is this obsession that you have with slathering your hair, slathering the scalp with oils and butters? What is it? What is it? And then apologize to your body for the decisions that you made, for the people that you followed. That's all it is. And these are things that we have to do. If we're not accountable, you are going to be in this same spot forever. That's just what it is. All of the fruits and vegetables, all of the different botanicals, the pastas, the cheese, all of the stuff that y'all want to put in your hair, eat it. Because regardless of what these people are saying online, the scalp does not have a digestive system. It does not. And the fastest way for your body to get all of these botanicals is for you to eat it, not put it in your hair. So I don't care how y'all feel. I am in a happy place, and you'll be in a happy place too if you begin to eat these botanicals and not put them in your hair. Your scalp has no digestive system, and the only thing that is happening when you're using these oils and butters, some of the essential oils that they have in their products are killing the overgrowth of yeast and bacteria that are on your scalp. That is it, and that is all. And the faster you learn the human body, the faster you learn how the human body works, the faster you can get your own regimen so you can have healthy hair that it doesn't hold you in bondage. I know that a lot of people get online once they get that microphone, they got all this stuff to say, they're really good at rage baiting you. I care nothing about that. Everything that comes out of my mouth can be verified with your dermatologist. Go see your dermatologist, repeat to them all of the things that I said in this video, and you let me know what they say. Everything that I say is facts. This is basic anatomy. Basic anatomy tells you that the top layer of skin, things with high molecular weights can't penetrate. That's basic anatomy. Basic anatomy. The fact that the body has a sebaceous gland that produces sebum is basic anatomy, my baby. So all of the things that you're constantly doing over and over again, these are the things that are confusing. These are the things that are causing your inflammation. If you really want to get rid of the inflammation, all you have to do is learn the human body. People, oh, she's making it up. Yeah, okay. You go ahead, and I want you to search the human body. If you haven't done so already, go watch the video linked in the description box below, the last live lecture that I did breaking down the stratum corneum and the way that I explained to you scientifically how the human scalp does not absorb your different botanicals and oils in high enough concentration for it to change any composition of the human body. The things that you put on your scalp do not absorb into the bloodstream in high enough amounts to change the hair growth cycle or anything of that nature. All it does is kill bacteria that is slowing down the hair growth cycle. That's it. It kills bacteria on the surface level of the scalp. Why? Because the oils that you put on the scalp, they can't penetrate. It doesn't get to the bloodstream in high enough quantities to have any type of physical effect. This is a fact. When the oils, even the essential oils can penetrate, but they don't have a high enough concentration to cause any changes within your body system. Mind you, once the essential oils penetrate, the body metabolizes them. So there's not enough for it to ever cause any effect whatsoever. All it does is kill the bacteria that lives on the scalp. But see, here's the gag. It kills all bacteria, good and bad. That's why most of the women who use Mielle Organics are all going bald at the same time. And you're blaming Mielle Organics, but in reality, you should not have been putting something like that on the scalp. It wiped out all of your good and bad bacteria, so there's nothing to grow hair. There's nothing to maintain it. That's what happened. But the women that stopped using Mielle Organics and stopped putting oils and butters on their scalp, their hair grew back. Why? Because the hair is always growing. It's always growing, but it's always being slowed down and stopped by women who will not stop putting oils and butters on the scalp. It makes no sense. So if you still want to do it, go ahead. This is not the video for you. Why would you be here? Why would you watch? Please don't leave yo I have a dream speeches in the comments, because most likely they'll either get deleted. If it's too disrespectful, it'll get blocked. But I want us to get past this. This is such a crazy place for us to be stuck in for decades. And again, I want you to watch that live broadcast, because you can see a 82-year-old woman give her testimony, and at 82 years old she went to a dermatologist and the dermatologist told her to stop oiling and buttering and greasing her scalp. So when you say, "Oh, my ancestors did," that's y'all grandma right there. That's one of the people who taught y'all to oil and butter the scalp. She went to see a dermatologist. The dermatologist told her, "No, stop doing that." She stopped doing that. She stopped oiling and buttering and greasing, and her full bald spot grew back at 82 years old. So you may think you have it all figured out. Do what you want to do, my baby, but I am here for the women who are looking for different pieces. So I love you so much. Make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. But for sure, if you haven't done so already, right now, check out the video, the full lecture that I've been telling you about. I love you so much. Let me know what you think about this video. Subscribe to my channel and keep your panties out of a bunch, baby.